I am quite aware that all I say is received with a sneer of incredulity in this body. But let the future determine who was right and who was wrong. We are making our record here. I, my humble one, amid the aversion of nearly all who surround me, I have forgotten what an approving voice sounds like and am surrounded by scowls. What is this bill but vesting first in the discretion of the President to be by him detailed to a subaltern military commander the authority to enter the Commonwealth of Kentucky, to abolish the state, to abolish the judiciary, and to substitute just such rules as that military commander may choose. This bill contains provisions conferring authority which never was exercised in the worst days of Rome by the worst of her dictators. I have wondered why this bill was introduced, possibly to prevent the expression of that reaction which is now evidently going on in the public mind against these procedures, so fatal to constitutional liberty. The army may be used perhaps to collect the enormous direct taxes to come to finance the war. Mr. President, gentlemen here talk about the Union as if it was an end instead of a means. Take care that in pursuing one idea you do not destroy not only the Constitution of your country, but sever what remains of the Federal Union. There is a question. I prefer no interruptions. The senator from California will have the floor later. The senator seems to have charge of the whole Pacific coast. Oregon, then, I desire the country to know this fact, that it is openly avowed upon this floor that the Constitution is put aside in a struggle like this. You are acting just as if there were two nations upon this continent, one arrayed against the other, some 20 million on one side and some 12 million on the other, as to whom the Constitution is naught, and the rules of war alone apply. The war power, whatever that means, applies to external enemies only. I do not believe it applies to any of our political communities bound by the Constitution in this association, nor do I believe that the founders ever contemplated the preservation of the union of these states by one half the states warning the other half. Mr. President, we are on the wrong tack. We have been from the beginning. The people begin to see it. Here we have been hurling gallant fellows on to death, and the blood of America has been shed. For what? To carry our principles that 3/4 of them abhor, for the principles of despotism contained in this bill before us. Nothing but ruin, utter ruin to the north and south, to the east and west, will follow the prosecution of this contest. You may look forward to innumerable armies. You may look forward to raising and borrowing vast treasures for the purpose of ravaging and isolating this continent. At the end, we will be just where we are now. Or, if you gloriously are victorious and succeed in ravaging the South, what will you do with it? Can you not see what is so plain into the world, that what you insist on seeing as a mere faction is a whole people wanting to go its own way? To accomplish this purpose, it will be necessary to subjugate, to conquer, to exterminate nearly 10 million people. Does anybody here not know that? Does anyone here hope vainly for conquest without carnage? Let us pause while there is still time for men of goodwill to draw back from hatred and bloodshed. Let the Congress of the United States respond here and now to the feeling rising all over this land in favor of peace. A few words as to the senator's predictions. The senator from Kentucky stands up here in a manly way in opposition to what he sees as the overwhelming sentiment of the Senate, and utters reproof, malediction, and prediction combined. Well, sir, it is not every prediction that is prophecy. When would you have been thinking if in another capital, in another republic, in a yet more martial age, a senator as grave and not more eloquent is dignified than the senator from Kentucky. Yet with the Roman purple flowing over his shoulders, he has risen in his place, surrounded by all the illustrations of Roman glory, and declared that advancing Hannibal was just and that Carthage ought to be dealt with in terms of peace. What would have been thought if, after the Battle of Cannae, a senator had risen in his place and denounced every levy of the Roman people, every expenditure of its treasures, and even appealed to the old glories? He would have been hurled from the Tarpeian rock. Yes, a colleague more learned than I says that the speaker of such words would have been hurled from the Tarpeian rock. It is a grand commentary on the American Constitution that we permit such words as spoken by the senator from Kentucky to be uttered here and now.
Okay.